Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome to another Rebelscum.com video. And today, we've been talking about The Force Unleashed. So today, we're going to talk about the toys of Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Now, for this video, I'm going to be covering the toys of both games because, well, they only released like one figure for the second game. So we're going to kind of wrap it all into one video because it's, well, super easy. But Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1 certainly had a plethora of figures. It's actually one of the few, definitely now Legends series that got a lot of toys. And I think part of that is because Star Wars was kind of at the peak of making toys when The Force Unleashed kind of came in, and The Force Unleashed has maintained a large popularity among Star Wars fans for years since its conception and since its release in, I believe, 2008. And it's always been a very, very awesome story, aside from just simple gameplay, which was awesome in itself. There are plenty of Galen Merrick, aka Starkiller, figures to choose from, which is really nice because, well, you would want some awesome options for your main protagonist character. But not only that, he has many different outfits just in the first game alone, and then has a handful in the second game. Plus, not to mention, later on in the game, it had an awesome feature where you could wear different outfits or be presented as different characters. For example, at the end of the game, it was either added on after or it was a DLC, but you could play as Darth Maul, for example, which that's a lot of fun too. Now, you weren't using Darth Maul's lightsaber. You were still using Starkiller's lightsabers, but still cool stuff. So anyway, the first of the toys came out in 2008 in the tail end of the Star Wars, the 30th anniversary toy line. I have some of those single-carded figures here, and there are plenty of others. And what's really interesting about that is Starkiller wasn't even released single-carded. Most of the cast and crew were, mostly some troopers and Vader and stuff, but Starkiller himself was released first in an evolution pack, which I have right over here. This evolution pack is really cool. You got 3 different Starkillers from different points in the game. There is a optional dark side ending to both games, and even that has its own timeline, which is pretty cool. But we'll get into that when we talk about some other stuff with The Force Unleashed here on Rebelscum.com. But for those 3 figures, you got his first appearance as, well, Starkiller. We have the Secret Apprentice outfit. That's pretty awesome. You have the optional light side ending where he decides to walk the path of the Jedi to some extent. And then you also have from the dark side ending where you decide to fight Vader. I know, spoiler alert, but when you decide to fight Vader and finish him off, you end up becoming the Emperor's next apprentice, and that's called the Sith Stalker armor Starkiller. And that's honestly one of my favorite character designs, not just of Starkiller, but in Star Wars in general. I just really love that character design. It looks really cool. And even years later, we got figures in the Black Series line. Now, not a ton. This is actually all of them right here in front of me. We have the first one here, which is actually the Emperor's Shadow Guard, which was a really cool guard you got to fight in the video game. This was the first one released. It was released in a Black Series Guard 4-pack back around the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi. It came with a Senate Guard, a regular Royal Guard, and then an Elite Praetorian Guard from the Last Jedi film. Later on, we got our next Force Unleashed figure here. This one's just a repaint of the Black Series Stormtrooper figure, and that is the Stormtrooper Commander, which was a trooper that you fought frequently in the first game. They're pretty cool. They had the blue paint scheme, as you can see, that resembled that of the 501st paint scheme in a sense. They could deploy a self-shield in the game. That wasn't the first figure, however, of the Stormtrooper Commander. The first figure was released on 30th card also, and then later on re-released once again as an SDCC exclusive in the Legacy Collection toy line right here. Still fully articulated, but the difference between this one and the 6-inch scale Black Series, aside from scale, is that one has a removable helmet, where this one does not. Later on in Black Series, we also got a third one. We got, also in the GameStop exclusive Gaming Greats line, the Stormtrooper Shadow Trooper. And the Shadow Troopers in the Force Unleashed were very cool. They had this unique ability to where when you could see them, they had this glowing blue effect, which I like how they captured that in this figure here. But they also could turn invisible on you in the game. And later on, towards the end of the game and into some of the DLC content, they even added a variant of, if you look right here, the Evo Trooper. They added a variant in the game to where there was a Shadow Evo Trooper, which had the regular Evo Trooper mechanics, which could deflect electricity basically and fire electric bolts at you, but also had the same play effect as the Shadow Trooper. So they were, just imagine an Evo Trooper, if you will, in that Shadow Trooper color scheme with the same ability to turn invisible. Very cool combination, actually, and it's a real shame that they didn't get a figure of him in any capacity. There are, however, 3 different versions of the Evo Trooper figure. There's its original single release. There was a repainted release where it was a more cleaned up armor in this figure pack here with Darth Phobos. And then the third one was also released in a figure pack, and he had this tan, beige-ish color camo pattern to it. There were also lots of awesome figure packs in The Force Unleashed. While the first was this awesome evolution pack here with 3 different Starkillers, later on, we got this next one that came with one of the Sith you fight in the Jedi Temple in one of the versions of the game, Darth Phobos. She's pretty awesome. She's got this double-bladed lightsaber. She's basically an ancient Sith training, which was later a training program in the game. And then later on, we got the Imperial Navy Commando and the Navy Commando Officer, which were only released in this pack ever. In the Legacy Collection, there was another figure pack that included an alternate version of Juno, the only release of a proxy figure, a release of the Imperial Jump Trooper that actually comes with a jetpack, which was one of the issues first on in the Force Unleashed figures. The first release of a Jump Trooper, which was also the first Jump Trooper figure for Star Wars toys ever, did not come with the jetpack, which was a problem because how is he gonna not have the main thing that makes him what he is? Doesn't make sense. But later on, he did get that. There were also other really cool re-releases in Legacy. They repacked the battle-damaged Vader figure. They also did other versions of some of the troopers. And that's not even all. While we finally got a new updated Incinerator Trooper in the Vintage Collection toy line most recently for its appearance in The Mandalorian, its original appearance was in Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and it did have a toy back then. It just didn't come with its Incinerator cannon and its pauldrons and stuff. However, it was a still pretty good representation of that figure. This Shadow Trooper here also got a 3 3/4 scale release in a 3-pack, much similar to the Incinerator Trooper. You got 2 with either Vader or Palpatine, depending on which pack you bought, whether it was the one with the Incinerator Troopers or the Shadow Troopers. It doesn't really matter. But still pretty cool that we got them that early on. There's a lot of awesome figures in The Force Unleashed, but there's also some characters we didn't get. For example, we didn't get any of the Terror Troopers or Terror Droids that were in The Force Unleashed 2, which were some pretty awesome and unique enemies to fight instead of villains. Well, I mean, they are. Pretty unique enemies to fight that never really appear at any other point in Star Wars, which is kind of a shame because some of them even resembled General Grievous in a sense, which that was also very cool. There are also other versions of Master Rom Coda that we could have gotten. For example, a Blind Coda would have been really cool. A version of him from The Force Unleashed 2 would have been pretty cool, but we only got one Coda figure. That was a single card release in the 30th anniversary packaging. And getting another release of Proxy would have been awesome. And hopefully, maybe sometime soon, we'll see more of these Force Unleashed characters make their way to the Black Series 6-inch scale toy line. That's really where we're missing the bulk of the Force Unleashed characters. I mean, most of them, more or less, have been pretty much covered, luckily, with the 3 3/4 scale toy line. Hasbro got to them pretty quickly and very early on, which was very nice of them. But it would be really cool to see in the near future us get some Black Series 6-inch scale figures other than Troopers and a Guard because, well, we still want a Galen Merrick in 6-inch scale. A Juno Eclipse would be very good. A Proxy would be fantastic, and a Rom Coda would be spectacular. I mean, a Rom Coda in 6-inch scale would be awesome. And it would be really cool if he had a swappable head, for example, with the bandages on after he's blinded, or without when, well, he's not blinded. And then, of course, a battle damaged Vader in 6-inch scale would be very cool. A set of the Evo Trooper or the Jump Trooper would also be very cool. Not so much just a straight repaint of the pre-existing Stormtrooper mold. I mean, in a sense, you could even include the Mandalorian Incinerator Trooper in this lineup because aside from the canisters on his back, the character design is very similar, if not the same, as his appearance in the video game of Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Even the incinerator cannon he's using is very similar to that used in the video game. And that's it for today, guys. So thank you so much for tuning into this video today of the toys of Star Wars The Force Unleashed. While there are a great many of them, there's also much more we could get, especially in the realm of Black Series, not so much in the realm of 3 3/4 scale, but some nice updates are very much overdue at this point. And hopefully there's a Galen Merrick in the works for Black Series 6-inch scale, especially in the Gaming Greats line. I think that would be very cool. Make sure you tune into other Rebelscum.com content and like, subscribe. Please comment on this. What are some Force Unleashed characters you would like to see in toy form, especially in Black Series? Is there somebody maybe I didn't mention that you really would like to see, or is there somebody that I didn't mention that you know there's a toy of that, hey, how come you didn't talk about that trooper or something? Well, I guess I didn't maybe talk about all of them, but that's okay. Make sure you're engaging with us. That's the point. So, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and that's it for today, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the Force be with all of you, you Rebel scum.